we will go ahead and get started. And like I said, at any time, please feel free to, drop a chat note in the chat or even unmute yourself and ask questions at any time. We're pretty informal during these Zoom meetings or club leader trainings. So welcome to the MdC 4-H Club Leader Training, and happy winter is my theme for the day because I obviously was feeling cold today. No, but I appreciate you all joining us, and we'll kind of go through many things here. So let's get started. Okay, as I said, I am Carla Hightower. I'm the MdC Extension District 4-H Youth Development Agent, and I'm in the Payola office. And if any time you have questions or need to talk over things, I'm available. So please give me a call, email, text, or message me, any of those things. I'm here to help you and help support you. So, and I know we have a few new leaders and a few returning leaders on here. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows that I'm here for you. Okay. All right, so our agenda for tonight, I'm going to talk about enrollment. I know you're probably tired of hearing about it, but we are really low, so we're going to talk about that. The other thing is volunteer enrollment. So if you have not enrolled yourself or other club leaders have not enrolled, we really need to know that. We'll talk a little bit about 4-H online access for club leaders, ways to communicate with 4-H families, and this will kind of be a sharing thing because I'm actually thinking about doing a survey to see what's the best way to communicate with 4-H families is, but I kind of want to get what works for you as well and what are some ideas you have. I want to go over for our new ones and even returning club leaders, club leader notebooks and the online version where you can find those. So if you need information about that, we're going to talk a little teeny bit about club days. Amy has been working on some meeting enhancements that she's going to share. We haven't quite got those rolled out, but we're hoping to roll those out here in the next week or so. So you'll be getting those. And then as far as the training part, we're going to talk about strategies to foster family engagement. So I have just a quick ideas on some ways that get families involved. I want to go ahead and give you YQCA gates because, those are required. And talk about animal deadlines. And then I also want to make sure you know about the MdC 4-H policy and guidelines document. So we'll go ahead and get started and go from there. So enrollment, it is due January 15th for all returning 4-H members. So last year we had 417 members in the district. That's Lynn and Miami counties together. Right now, we have 23 returning members that have enrolled, or 23 members that have enrolled in Lynn County and 111 that have enrolled in Miami County. I'm a little concerned about this because that means that everyone has to enroll in basically the next month and a half. I really don't want to tell people no, and I don't like to do that, but it is going to happen if they miss that January 15th deadline. And basically what that does is January 15th is the deadline to make sure that you have for returning members have to be enrolled by returning members have to be enrolled by January 15th to show at either fair. So if you're in Lynn County, to show at the Lynn County Fair, if you're Miami County, to show at the Miami County Fair, you have to be enrolled by January 15th. So please help spread the word. I'm going to try to do maybe a Facebook Live. We'll send out more emails and everything, but I'm a little concerned that these numbers are really low this year. So we either lost a lot of families or we have a lot of families. And I really think it's more, we have a lot of families who are needing to enroll. So please help me spread the word on that. And then that kind of goes into our next topic, which is volunteer enrollment. And all screened volunteers must enroll to maintain each year to maintain their screened volunteer status. So all club leaders, project leaders, anything club project leader, project club leaders, they have to be screened and they have to re-enroll. So please encourage, I think most of you on this thing have enrolled, but if you haven't for some reason, or if you know of another club leader who has not, you should be able to kind of see that when you actually go into your clubs. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next slide. But, just encourage them to go ahead and do it, and just remind everybody that they do need, volunteers have to enroll as an adult volunteer, and there's no fee for them. It's just filling out the online enrollment process. So, and that's kind of their yearly renewal. So, okay. So that kind of goes on to the next one is 4-H online access for leaders. I'm going to have Amy start working on giving access to all the leaders and kind of updating that. I know some of you have already given up access to because you asked, and we did that. But one of the things I really need you to do is you must enroll in 4-H online as a club leader so we can get you. Because otherwise we have to get out of the system on our end, or we have to wait for you to do it. Because if you don't enroll, you have to be enrolled. We can't enroll you ourselves. We can do it as a club leader, but we have to basically get out of the system on our end and go into your account and change you as club leader, and then go out of your account and go back in to to select you as club leader and give you access. So it's a lot of steps on our end. So if you can just enroll as a club leader, it's much easier. And then once we get that kind of do the check boxes and get everything set up in 4-H online, we will send you a password and instructions to you via email so that you can get those. But just, help us out. Go ahead and enroll as a club leader. And if you know others who, need that as well, have them do that. Okay. Any questions, I guess, so far on 4-H enrollment, club leader enrollment, volunteer enrollment, all those things?
For new members, enrollment is May 1st.
That is correct. However, I will be honest, if you have new members who are in the club right now, try to get them to enroll, because then, as soon as they enroll, we basically download the email list, and that's where the newsletter emails go. That's how we put out like our fiber arts, if we're specific project things. So like if you ask for shooting sports, we'll just send it out to shooting sports, all of those things. So, if they wait till May 1st, they're going to miss a whole bunch of things that are going to be happening this spring, winter and spring. And I really, so I would encourage any new members that you have now to go ahead and join and enroll. Now, if you have somebody who wants to join at the last minute, like in, March or April, that's a little bit different. But if they've attended a meeting or called you and asked about it, try to encourage them to go ahead and enroll. Okay, good question though. Any other questions or comments? Okay, moving on. So some ways to communicate with 4-H families. I know these are kind of the ways I communicate with 4-H families. So I have social media, which is basically Facebook, although we do have an Instagram account as well, but I do not use Instagram nearly as much. We have the newsletter that goes out, email. We have a text message. I do text message with some of you, and sometimes I find that easier. Email is probably my most, because that way it goes to everyone at the same time, and it's a lot easier than doing, I don't know, group text messages to me get kind of messy. If there's if I had all 250 families on a group text message, that would be hard. Sometimes I use 4-H online to email and text message you. So I know that they kind of text message you and say that you have an email from 4-H online. So, but now I want to hear kind of from you. So what ways do you find works best for your families to communicate with your families?
Carla, we usually use email as our main form of communication.
You said email?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I know at the county level, GroupMe also is, we utilize.
That is true.
And that's what New Horizons, we use GroupMe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what's working best for Cadmus too. We have a club Facebook page that we try to post things on for those that didn't join the GroupMe chat, but it gets to be kind of a pain to maintain both of those spaces, and GroupMe tends to be where we live most of the time.
I would say for progressive, we use Facebook mostly, but then for meeting details and like meeting minutes, we'll use email, but most all of it's Facebook.
Okay. Anyone else want to share?
We've used GroupMe for Spring Hill Rangers. Felt like it got a little bit crazy sometimes when all their side conversations would get going, but you seem to get a lot of conversations in there that you may not be a part of. But.
So are you having, because I've noticed that with junior leaders, sometimes a few of the kids don't have, I mean, most of the parents do have it, or they don't want to download the app with GroupMe. Are you guys having that problem, or do most people not have a problem with that?
High school kids all have it for something else at school. So I feel like that's easy. And then the younger kids, the parents, I haven't had a problem because I feel like so many other organizations and groups are using it that I haven't had any pushback.
Okay. And
it's nice because I like it because it's all grouped together in my emails. It all gets lost because if I don't get to it right away, or, then, you have a bunch on top of it or whatever. So I like it better because I'm more organized. I feel like you're right. Sometimes there are side conversations, but I feel like overall it's better.
I would say the same thing for us. It's mostly parents and then some of the teenagers. And there's occasionally some sidebar conversations, but sometimes, honestly, that engages some of the parents that don't otherwise engage. So I don't necessarily mind that.
Okay.
For Busy Beavers, we primarily use email and then the Facebook page, but we don't have a whole lot of interaction from them. So I've thought about trying the GroupMe, and so I'll talk to the other leaders. It was nice to hear that you guys use it too, because I've been wondering about it, because we have a lot of people that they don't check emails, they don't check Facebook, or our page doesn't post often enough that it doesn't pop up on their feed. So maybe we'll give GroupMe a try and go from there.
Yeah, and that's kind of the reason I brought this up, is because I think we all struggle with it to some extent, a little bit, because, I know that I have families that come up and go, oh, I don't read email, and I don't do text message, and I don't do social media. So, I just want us to share what's working best for all our clubs, because, it's kind of our struggle right now. It used to be you got everyone with mail and we didn't have to worry about it, but phone calls or mail was the only way we do it. And now we have so many other options that sometimes it's hard to figure out what works best for your club or your county, or, even state and district. And I know I'll be honest, we even have this at the state level where we're like, do you rather email, or would you rather have it on Teams or something like that? So, it is a debate in our society as a whole. But any other questions or comments about communicating with families?
The only other thing I would add, Carla, is that at our monthly meetings, on the back of our agenda, we put as many dates as we can, whether they're club dates or something that's in the newsletter that they may not be reading, to try to help give them a piece of paper, which can get lost. But for those that don't want to use the technology, maybe that's helping them too.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely a good idea too. So, but yeah, anything else?
Go ahead. I have a question for Annalise. So do you like actually print out agendas for each meeting to hand out? We just primarily use email and then hoping everybody's reading them, getting the information that way. But I didn't know if them out. Yeah. Do what?
We do. We print a paper copy. They don't all pick it up. On the way into our meeting, there's a table that's there inside the front door. And so we leave a pile of agendas. And if there's any sign-up sheets that we have for an activity or something, we put that there so they can see it. If there's any other handouts or something that we want them to have, that's there for them to pick up. Our average attendance is about 25 kids and probably represents about 15 or so families. So I usually print 20 or 25 agendas because sometimes the kids pick up one and mom or dad picks up one. But there's usually some left over. So I know they're not all picking it up, but for me, it's been working to reach at least some of them. It also gives our officers something that they can follow along with during the meeting. And it gives me something that I take notes on and keep every month. So.
Okay, maybe we'll give that a try too, because we get a lot of parents that I didn't know that. And so, okay. All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. We have tried posting the agenda on Facebook or GroupMe, and we're kind of in a transition. The way we've been trying to work Club Leader to get other parents involved and to not burn anybody out is that we've been doing a rotation. So I was also one of the club leaders last year. We have a new one that just started with this 4-H year, and then I'll rotate out at the end of this year and she'll stay, and we'll get a different one hopefully. And so she wanted to do the agendas, and so we're kind of in a transition of making sure of also putting that out electronically, but we try to be as accommodating as we can, which is sometimes labor intensive.
Okay. Right. Anything else? Okay, well, I think we've had some good discussion. I guess the other thing is, like I said, I'm thinking about doing just a quick survey about how, people would prefer to get that. I'm not going to say it's going to be the way we're going to be able or prefer to get information about 4-H and upcoming events. I'm not going to say that's definitely how we're going to do it, but to see if they want text message, if they would like a podcast, social media, newsletters, email, and I can definitely share that. Might have the GroupMe, because I hadn't thought about maybe a GroupMe for 4-H, all the MdC. That might be, I don't know if the GroupMe will let you do that big of group or not, but I'll have to look into that. So thank you for your discussion, and thank you for sharing, because I think it helped some of our others, and that's kind of one of the reasons we're here, is also to support each other and get ideas from each other. So, okay. With that, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Oh, I did this. I obviously got that one twice. Sorry about that. So Club Leader notebooks, I have physically, if you want a hard copy notebook, I have some. You just need to let me know if you want one and we'll get it to you. You can stop by the payroll office, or if you're wanting them in the Mound City office, just let me know and I'll get them down there. We can do that too. They basically just have different sections and some information in each section, like the MdC 4-H policy and guidelines is one section. There's a section on being a club leader that kind of tells you kind of your job description, some different things that help you with that. There's a section on club meetings. There's a section on club finances, which just kind of gives you some of our rules and regulations. And I'll probably go over those again at a club leader meeting here before too long. Forms and deadlines is another section. We have a fundraising section, a welcoming new members section, a working with committees section, a volunteers section, and then a record book and PIN applications and an additional resources. So we try not to make them too overwhelming. So there's a few handouts, few pages in each one, but there are definitely. So if you want a hard copy, we have that. But the really cool thing is too, and some of you know about this, but we do have the Padlet app version. So an online club leader notebook, and I have a QR code here. So if you're not using your tablet or your phone to log into this meeting, you can use it to check it out. It's just a quick app that kind of has the sections, and you can see what all is in each section. So I do find it kind of helpful You can go through the sections and kind of see, and it kind of gives you a little bit of a background and description. I know that when we talked last year, and I never got it actually updated, but we talked about adding the information about using the 4-H emblem / the, getting branded and or the branding part for K-State Research and Extension and 4-H. So I will add that to it. And I do need to get the policy guidelines. I just noticed that today, right now. So I looked at this earlier yesterday and I looked at it today, and I didn't notice that I hadn't got the right policy and guidelines updated until just now. So I will get those updated as well. I'm going to write my note. Okay, so that's just a quick way. If you have some new leaders, club leaders, they're coming in, or even assistant club leaders, please share this with them. It is also available on our website as well. So there's a link under, if you go to magazine.ksu.edu, you can go 4-H youth development, and there's one that's club leader resources or club leaders. And if you click on that, it's towards the top of the page, we'll have that information. So you can go quickly to that. You don't have to log in or anything. It's just, as long as you have the link or the QR code, you should be able to go straight to it. So yep. Okay. All right. And one of the things in that is the club leader deadlines. And I just kind of, especially for those of you who are new, just kind of give you an idea of what things happen. Officer training did go out, and it is online again this year. We've had 26, I believe, when I looked yesterday, that have completed it. So we're, still need quite a few off. I will try to send out probably here the first of next week email with who all has went through that training. So you kind of have an idea as club leaders who has went and who hasn't. But they're due January 1st. Also, returning members enrollment is due January 15th, as we talked about. May 1st is add delete project enrollment and new member enrollment as well. Pre-entries are due for fairs in July. The state fair pre-entries are due in August, and October is our club organizational reports, record books, club seal apps, pin applications, all of those things. This is an abbreviated version of, there is one that's club leader deadlines and important dates. And you can look at that in the club leader notebooks as well and our website. But just to kind of give you an overview of some of the dates you need to think about as you're moving forward. Okay, so moving on to Club Day. Tentatively, this is going to be February 25th, we're hoping. We have a request into the school. They think it's probably okay, but they're still checking it out. So we'll see if that happens or not. We'll let you know for sure. But we're looking at that end of February. So if we move it, if we can't get the school for February 25th, Prairie View Middle School for February 25th, we'll probably try the weekend before on that. And registration will open on January 3rd for that. So be looking for that. We're actually meeting about Regional Day Monday. So we'll be getting that information out and try to get a save the date on that as well when we kind of know for sure. And sometimes we don't always know on that one until after the first of the year, due to the fact that some of the school districts that we use or the buildings we use don't allow us to book the buildings until the new year happens. So we will, as soon as I get the Regional Club Day thing out, we will do that. I will be honest, we're looking at the last weekends in March, so we'll see when that happens. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it over to Amy to talk a little bit about some meeting enhancements that she has been working on.
All right, hey there, guys. Meeting enhancements are the next step in the trying to help everybody get their membership and their attendance up where they want it to be. If you've got your attendance where you want it to be, then super duper. But you might still find this pretty fun. What we're doing with meeting enhancements is they're just little short projects that can be done. They should take like anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes. Some of them might take a little bit longer. It just depends on how smoothly it goes and how well the leader has gone through it and gotten to know the project. We have a fair few different ones. I think I had somewhere between 10 and 15 figured out today. And they kind of range through visual arts. I've got one for entomology, a few STEM projects, and the kids should find them pretty fun. I know I've practiced a few of them with my daughter, and she was just blown away that she could actually do it. So they are pretty fun. You'll see pictured there, we've got our bird seed feeder, and there in the center is the catapult. It uses popsicle sticks, rubber bands, a plastic spoon, and a pom-pom, and the kids have a lot of fun, like kind of hitting a target with the pom-pom. To the right, you'll see a paper flower that we have a tutorial made for, and that one takes about 30 minutes. I practiced it with my daughter. So we're trying to decide if we want to offer it as a kit or just offer you guys the instruction sheets and you can get your own kits. On some of them, if we got the kit, we could probably get the supplies cheaper because we could order in bulk, but on some of them it's going to be a complete wash because you'll have to go to the grocery store. Let's see, anybody have any questions about this? Comments?
Maybe we should ask them what their thoughts are. Is it easier if we supply you, if you were going to be using one of these things, is it easier for you to give us, basically order it ahead of time, give us some lead time, have us get the supplies together, you come and pick them up and that, or is it easier for you to just take the lesson plan basically and teach it and get the supplies yourself or whoever's in charge? Because this is also something that wouldn't necessarily be the club leader doing. It would be another parent or something else doing too.
Yeah, it's great leadership opportunity for some of your older kiddos too. If somebody needs to do a project talk or something, this is a really fun demonstration that the rest of the club can play along with. If you need something for like a project meeting, or if you're a project leader and you're like, oh gosh, what am I going to do for our project mania? Some of these would be really good to do for those too. And it doesn't have to just be meetings.
And personally, I feel like just giving the directions or the lesson is probably good, because unless it's something that's going to be a substantial savings, just because then you can kind of cater it to exactly what you're wanting to do and like the numbers that you're dealing with.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Anybody else have thoughts?
No, I would say the same thing, because I would probably try to split up the supplies among some of our families and have them bring components or something. But I'm a little hesitant to add one of these to our regular monthly meeting, simply because we meet on Wednesday night, and to lengthen the meeting by 30 to 45 minutes means that's that much later for them to get home and do supper, bedtime, homework routines. But I like the idea of project meetings or some other one-off activity for them to have some ideas to draw from.
Well, and my son's Zoom momming.
Yeah. And I think some of them would actually be quicker than the 30 minutes, to be honest. Like the catapults. I mean, we did that in a 45-minute time period, that and another option as well. So, but some of them might take that long.
The catapults are like a 5-minute deal. Sorry, he's got Zoom radar.
Maybe what might be helpful, Amy, is on the instructions to give a time frame. So if we're choosing an activity and we know we only have a certain amount of time, that might help us narrow something down.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, and
I'm also got one of your helpers there.
Oh yes, sure do. Every time I get on a Zoom call, he's got like some kind of sixth sense and he tracks me down.
They all do.
But also of note, I'm trying to keep the cost on these super duper low, like $1 or $2 per project. So I've got a little order form that I've got compiled, and it will give you like a general cost per kit, like what it would cost to put it together. So hopefully you guys find that helpful too. That way no one feels priced out of it or anything.
Okay. Any other comments or questions about the meeting enhancements that we're working on?
I would kind of have to agree with making a longer monthly meeting would probably be frowned upon in our group, but maybe if we have certain projects that that our troop kind of goes more to, maybe have different meeting times and do different activities for that. So having more fun little activities is very exciting to think that we could do some of that. It just may not be in our monthly meetings.
Cool. Sounds good.
Hi, Wyatt. So yeah, and I think we were thinking, we were thinking that you could, if you needed an educational component to a meeting and had some time, but we weren't limiting it to your monthly meetings by any means. So, you can use these however you want to be honest. If you need to use them for a day camp type thing, or if you need to use them for, just a project meeting, anything, we're just trying to get more information out to you and more lesson plans that are easier for everyone to use. So yeah, and I thank you, Amy, for kind of tackling this and getting us some really good ideas too. So, okay, any other comments or questions about that? Okay, moving on. All right, so this is where I kind of talk about strategies to foster 4-H family engagement in 4-H clubs. Parents, grandparents, other family members are assets to the 4-H program. And one of the best things about 4-H is that it promotes and welcomes family engagement. And there are benefits to family involvement. Studies have shown that we found when adults are involved in youth programs, it strengthens family relationships, improves parent-child communication and bonding, and family involvement is a win-win for youth, adults, and volunteers. So some tips to kind of help your clubs get more family engagement and parents who want to be engaged. One of the things is to make them feel welcome. We talk about making our 4-Hers feel welcome, and that's a really important thing. But we also want to make sure that we make our parents feel important too. So just like you would do for youth, make adults and other family members feel welcome. Encourage them to participate and get to know you games, or introduce them to other adults associated within the club. Have a parent meeting at the beginning of the club year. It's a great idea to help new members feel like part of the group. Make sure you get them on your group me or your social media right away, and make sure that they do feel like they're part of the club and that they are getting communicated with. Our second one is communicating clearly. Communicating with parents is essential. In fact, in a survey of new 4-H families in Florida, communication with the club leader was a major factor in whether or not the families returned to the program the following year. So try some of these strategies to help build strong communication with families. Set up clear lines of communication with parents by asking them how they prefer to receive communication. And, we kind of talked about communication earlier. Some clubs use social media, texting apps like GroupMe or Remind, email, all of those different things. Find a method that works for your 4-H families. Also, make sure the club schedule works for everyone and the location is accessible for all. I know, I've been asked before about, clubs meeting in people's homes, and that's okay, but sometimes people feel strange about going to somebody's home that they don't really know and for a club meeting. So I always kind of encourage clubs to meet in more of a public place, but whatever works for you, but just make sure that you are working your schedule. Give each family a copy of the club program calendar, ask another parent or club officer to send out reminders before meetings. All of those things help. One of the other things is to help them learn 4-H. As we know, I know 4-H has its own, just like anything else, because almost everything we do, they have their own way of talking. They have their own acronyms. We have our acronym crazy, but all of those things make it hard. The fact that we call things projects. I never really realized until in probably the last 5 years, you know, because I grew up in 4-H and projects were just those things that you took that you were interested in. But a lot of people don't understand, especially if they're new to 4-H, they don't get the idea of what a project is. So explaining those type of things. And we're trying to do a little bit better at the district level as well, but just keep that in mind. You know, 4-H is a large organization and has something for everyone, which is great, but it can also be overwhelming. So explain your club cycle, such as when things normally occur during the year, service projects, fundraisers, competitions, award programs, camp. That way they can plan ahead and set goals for engagement. Ask a seasoned 4-H family to mentor a new family. This can help them learn about the program and identify things that their children will want to participate in. The other thing is, you know, I know all of you do really well at going through and kind of saying, hey, club days is coming up, but sometimes we forget, and I do this too. I forget to actually say, you know, what is club day? Because club day is kind of, you know, that's one of those things that we call it club day, but it's so much more, you know, that really doesn't explain what it is. So, you know, make sure that you explain, well, it's lots of public presentations, you can do dance, you can do drama. There's a lot of things that happen at club day and its competition of that. And we're trying to do a little bit better at our district level as well for that. But be sure as you're talking about those things to your at your club meetings that you're explaining them well. And then also discover their skills, knowledge, and interest. New 4-H families may think that they need special training or experience to contribute to the club. As a volunteer, let them know that we all learn by doing and everyone has something to contribute. You know, use a parent interest survey to find out how adults might be willing to serve, or if you know, if you can find out something they're good at, you know, make them an assistant leader, give them one of these, maybe you give them one of these things to lead during one of your meetings, you know, one of the meeting enhancements, if they're comfortable with that. Some people will not be comfortable with that. But yeah, just, you know, try to get them involved. And then identify task and make the ask, which I find this to be one of the hardest things I have, is making a list of things that you need help with and write each item on an index card, one per card. Ask each family to select 1 or 2 items they're willing to be responsible for by writing their name on the back of the card is kind of a suggestion they have. But, you know, it's just actually asking them to help and to have a little bit of ownership within the club. And then make individual asks for more complex tasks. So reach out to parents individually if they're not, and share some tasks that you need help with that are a little more complex. For example, you may need a parent to help train club officers, teach parliamentary procedure, or work with service learning committee. Provide any resources they may need, such as an officer handbook or service learning guide, and let them know that the 4-H office will provide support for them in this role. If the task requires a level of, well, of course, the background check, then be upfront about that. So, you know, it's just basically ways of getting our 4-H families more involved, making it more of a family affair. You know, I think that is one of the strengths, and I've been saying that this year. That's been kind of my buzzword, or whatever you want to say, when I'm actually advertising for 4-H and saying that, you know, enrollment's happening and all that. When I do my radio spots, I've been saying, you know, this is really a family affair. 4-H is about family. It's, you know, it's something that adults and kids can do together. It's something that parents can do with their children and develop those skills. So I think that's a real strength we have. And we just need to make sure that we keep our parents involved, because that helps our clubs as well. And I know that makes your jobs a lot easier when you have parents who can step up and are willing to step up and do some of those things to take it off of your plate. So any questions on that, or any other strategies you guys have used? Okay. Then I'm going to go on to YQCA. So YQCA is, of course, this is our youth quality control of animals. care of animals, quality care of animals. And it is required for anyone showing livestock. So basically breeding or market sheep, swine, goats, and cattle have to attend these trainings. There will be 4 in Paola and 3 in Mound City this year. You can also do, they can also do an online version if they can't make any of these. Those all have to be done, I believe, by June 15th. I hope it's June 1st or June 15th, and we'll have that in the newsletter too. But I wanted you guys to be aware of these. Those dates can also be found in the next thing I'm going to talk to you about, which is our policy guide. So it has all the deadlines for animals and all these trainings as well. And hopefully you guys are getting that, because we try to send those out monthly. We do an email, a welcome email as people are enrolling, and we're trying to send out that policy guide so they have all that information as well. So hopefully that is helping a little bit.
Hey, Carla, I have a quick question about YQCA. Do you know why it is not also geared toward small animals, pets, and horses? I know some of the examples in the training are for poultry or rabbits or other animals, and it's clearly important to care for them and keep records for them as well. So I was just wondering why it's only the big 4 and not all the others.
Well, okay, so horses do their own thing. They actually have an equine safety course and some things like that they have to do. So they have their own training for Kansas that they're having to do it. It was called level testing, but this year they've changed that, and it's a equine course that they have to do, I think, every year now. But so we have that. As far as the smaller animals, I think it's because really we were gearing this towards quality meat, and not that those small animals aren't meat, but they're not as much as usual. You know, it's harder around here. You don't find places that use rabbits or even poultry as much as basically a meat source, you know, that they're raising. So that's kind of why they have done that. Now I know that when we changed to YQCA, it was because the other thing is it used to be pork quality assurance is where it started with, and then it became livestock quality assurance because, you know, if you're doing it for pork, why are you not doing it for beef and all the other animals that are basically our meat sources? So
that's fine. I was just curious because you know part of the course is, and some, I don't know if all of the leaders on here have been through it, but part of it is just general good care practices, which would even apply to your dog. So, you know, keeping the vet's number handy and keeping records and those kinds of things, which helps with their record book if they're going to do one. So I was just a question. Thank you.
And here's the thing, just because it's required for these animals doesn't mean that, I mean,
the others couldn't do it.
Others couldn't do it. Anytime you want to learn more about something, I encourage you all to do that. So, if you have some kids that are really passionate about it and really want to know more, or maybe are trying to do more of the, meat type things with their small animals, I'm fine with that too. They can, if they're trying to sell chicken, frozen chickens or something, and that kind of stuff, and kind of doing it more as a producer, then yeah, that's something they could probably do. And nothing's to say you have to be in those large animals. That's just our requirement. For showing. So, okay, but good question. All right, so that kind of gives us YQCA. Any other questions, I guess, about that? Okay. All right. So this comes from our Marais District 4-H policy and guidelines that we kind of talked about, and it's in the leader's notebook and also on our website. Excuse me. But these are animal project requirements, and this basically says when everything's got to be tagged, large animal, I should say, because I don't think I have like rabbits and poultry on here, but anyway, this kind of gives you your large animal, livestock animals. It does have horse on here as well. Well, I do have rabbits here. So, you know, these are just your things. I would encourage you guys to kind of have this in hand. I would actually encourage you guys to keep the district 4-H policy and guidelines with you, especially when you go to meetings. That way you can refer to them for that, because it also has another thing about basically dates and upcoming events and when everything kind of happens as well. So, you know, these are just good things, but, you know, basically Scrapey's tags by May 5th, must be tagged by May 5th. You know, you can see when everything is. So, and then, like I said, the MdC District 4-H policy and guidelines, it's 8 pages, I think, which I know it's kind of long. Some of it, you know, just goes through enrollment deadlines, you know, how to add and delete a project. It has some mission and principles, membership, Clover Bud membership, residents, you know, transferring membership between clubs, counties, different things like that. It also has some information about what a project talk is, a demonstration, illustrated talk, public speaking, has a parents code of conduct as well, and lots of different things. But I also have in there specifically is the YQCA dates, that animal deadlines and ownership requirements part. And then here is the deadlines and events by month. So I really think those 3 pages or 2 pages probably are really important to have with you and to share. Like I said, we're trying to email that out to families as they enroll. I'm not sure that I need to check on to see if Lynn County is getting those yet, if those are going out, but I will double check on that. So, but I think it is a good for information. You know, there's some things on fundraising, how to accept donations, so different things like that. And of course, anytime you have questions too, you can always come to me, but this is just kind of to help you answer some of those questions, especially when you need those answers right away and maybe you can't get a hold of me, or, you know, I'm after it's at your club meeting and you can't, you know, you can't really call or ask. So, okay. Any other questions right now before I go to the office closed part? Okay, well, we're going to be done right about 8 o'clock, so this will be good. But just to let you all know, our office will be closed December 23rd through the January 2nd, both of our offices, I should say. So both the Paola and the Mound City office will be closed and for the holidays. And part of this is just K-State closes down, so we don't have the resources that we usually have from K-State. And I'll be honest, it's usually a pretty slow time period as well during that time period. So we're going to enjoy that week off and hopefully have some time to spend with family and friends and all of those things and get a little mini vacation type thing. Probably not go anywhere, but and then the other thing is we're having a staff retreat on December 20th. I'm not sure if our office will actually be closed all day, but it could be a majority of the day. So I just wanted you to know that, because I know sometimes there after school gets out, you guys are coming by to get things or pick up items, and there's not a lot that we have right now there. The one thing is for Miami County clubs, I do have record books in the office. So if you want to pick up your record books, they are available at any time. So just come in and see us and we'll get those to you. And then any other questions or concerns or issues that we need to talk about that you have?
I just had a couple questions. For the fiber arts class you have coming up, is that still available?
We are full. So it is completely, yeah.
Okay.
It went really fast.
Another one in a couple months or anything?
I do not know on that, because one of our, we might do something else. There might be another workshop of some kind. Our part of that is Kira Uphoff, who was a former 4-H'er and is in college now, is doing the 2 parts of that, which is the woven journals and the needle felting, and she's in college. So, you know, except for basically Christmas break is the time she has to do that. So I don't know that we'll be doing that again until next year. She has done it the last 2 years, at least the needle felting has. But, you know, we might be, since we had such interest, we might try to do something else here coming up, but we also have several classes coming up on different projects, and we're trying to hit many different projects throughout the year. But yeah, the one thing is I am hoping to do a video that's kind of a follow-up to the macrame part of the class with another basically macrame that you can do. So that would be maybe a possibility as well.
Okay. And then I also wanted to see if there were any other clubs that would be interested in doing an exchange meeting with the Busy Beavers. Just get a hold of me somehow, and then we'll kind of figure out when and where and what and who. So, but I wanted to put that out there.
Okay. All right.
I have a question for the group. I noticed that on the Club Seal application, there was something about doing an annual program, which is not something that Cadmus has done, at least not recently. I was just curious if those of you that were doing it, what program ideas you felt were successful or well received, or how you went about finding a topic that you thought the club would be interested in.
Annalisa, sorry, was somebody trying to talk? Okay. When you're talking about your annual program, are you talking about like our club projects, which are like healthy living, community service, those type of things?
Well, I guess I don't know what checkbox that is on the seal application then, Carla, because I wasn't exactly sure what that line item is for. And so we don't tend to do program topics at every monthly meeting. And so my interpretation was that we could, at one club meeting, have a guest speaker come in and talk about something, and that would be a program. But maybe that I misinterpreted the item on the application.
No, I mean, even with the club project, it's kind of an emphasis, but that doesn't mean you have to do it like every club meeting. It just means you do it throughout the year. You know, maybe you do bring in a club speaker once, and you know, it's not a have to do a lot. So I'm trying to pull up the seal application right now, sorry, so I can see how exactly it's worded. I don't have it memorized.
I don't either. It's just what stuck in my head about something that I wanted to try to do with the kids this year.
Okay.
So I was leaning more towards something that I could bring in, like shooting sports, you know, doing like gun safety or something. I know Jason Bloodgood does that with the kids at school, and maybe I could get him to come and talk to the 4-Hers about that, or something facts related, or, you know, and maybe a roving topic kind of thing, so that each year it's hitting something that might be of a higher interest to some of them than others. But
okay, yeah, because is it the plan and carry out one or more group projects such as safety, health, conservation? That's the one.
No, there was something that I thought said yearly program.
Oh, yearly program okay. So have a yearly program planned by a committee of youth and adults. That is more of that you plan your program throughout the year. So you have, you basically have a committee of youth and adults who do, sit down with you and basically say, okay, this month we're going to do a Christmas party, and this month
okay.
So that's what we're talking about there. So you kind of plan out the year, who's doing demonstrations each month, who's bringing refreshments, what your top, if there's a special topic, if you're having a parents' night,
I'm with you. We have a pretty set schedule for what we do when, like, parents' night or Chilean soup night or Christmas and those kinds of things. I just have the kids sign up for project talks and demonstrations and then fill in the gaps. So, but
that's fine too. It's just that if you have if you get your committee of basically, it's not just adults doing it, it's mainly having like officers involved with that as well.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you for clarifying that.
No problem. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't get which one you were talking about earlier. So
that's all right.
But no, good questions. Anything else? All right. Well, I am going to go ahead and end this. So thank you all for all your work as club leader. You are appreciated. I know sometimes it might not seem like it, but you are. We could not reach all of our 4-Hers without you. And I'm here to support you, and Amy's here to support you as well, Abby, and all of us here at the district, in the extension district. So if you have questions, please feel free to call or ask. We're here to try to help. So, and I thank you all for taking the time out. Hope you have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I know I'll see some of you before then, but thank you all.